go ahead and get started. So once again, just grateful for this opportunity to come together and practice mindfulness, meditation, these wonderful teachings that I have received from many different teachers from around the country, around the world. I've been really grateful to receive them, and they've helped me get a little more calm and clarity. I hope a little more clarity in my life. And, that's why I'm here sharing these, and hopefully you're feeling some benefit from it too. So we'll start out as we often do, just with a little grounding meditation. So take your meditation seat, whatever feels right to you. You want to feel grounded, supported, so your body feels supported, whether by a chair or if you're laying down, the full support of the body, or if you're standing, the support of the feet on the floor. And from that grounding support, the uprightness of the spine invited, just any amount of lengthening of the spine, which leads to a little more alertness in the mind. Feeling the head balanced on the spine. So we have this uprightness, but there's also relaxation. So there's three aspects: grounding, upright, relaxed. Closing the eyes if you're comfortable, or just having a soft gaze, not looking around. To come inside, and the bell will invite us to go inside and just reflect. So with that invitation of the bell, bringing the attention inwards to just check in. How is it right now? Right here, right now. This practice of mindfulness, of knowing how it is right here in this mind and body. So what's the mood of the mind, the energy of the mind? Is it still in the arrival process, or is it just calmly waiting to see what's next? Or is it going to sleep? Or somewhere in between, maybe all of those. The mood of the mind is this. Not judging it, it's just like this. And then the body. What's the general energy, the feeling in the body? Is there tension? Is there relaxation? Is there agitation, wanting to move? Leaning into a sort of expectation? Maybe there's a strong sensation. How's the body just overall? Again, no judging, it's just being aware of how it is right now. This mind, this body are like this. And within the body, just using the body as the way to direct our attention, to be aware of how it is, because the body can tell us the truth of our experience right now. Just noticing how it is. Maybe you don't have a sense of it, the body overall, so just checking in at points in the body, maybe with the feet grounded on the floor, the legs, the hips, noticing if there's any tension or if there's relaxation, or maybe there's no sensation, and we can notice that as well. But moving the awareness from the feet, knees, legs, hips, up into the back, noticing if there's tension or relaxation, no sensation in the back, the shoulders, the arms, the hands. What sensations do we find there? Heat, tingling, cold, tension, relaxation. Hands and the arms are like this. And moving back up into the shoulders, the neck, the head. What's the general sense of ease or tension or numbness in the neck and head? Specifically noticing maybe the eyes, the jaw, noticing if there's tension or relaxation. We don't judge any of this, we just notice, and maybe we notice that it's changing. Maybe it's tense originally, but it relaxes when we bring awareness there. We can notice that too. Or maybe we notice the mind is wandering right now. We just invite it back to the body. Awareness of the eyes, the jaw, down into the neck, into the upper torso around the heart center, down into the belly, noticing sensation in the torso or lack of sensation. You can notice that too. And then broadening from the torso awareness, broadening out through the entire body, just the sensation of the body breathing, however you experience it. Breathing in, breathing out. How does that feel in the body? Maybe feeling the movement of the air coming in and out of the body, someplace in the nose or the throat or the chest or the belly. Or maybe just a sensation of the body as a whole, breathing, receiving the energy on the inhalation, and then a relaxation or a letting go on the exhalation. Just noticing how it is right here, right now. This body breathing is like this. How do we know we're breathing? And what's the sense of the breathing? Is it relaxed, or are we controlling or holding in some way? We can notice that too. And not trying to change it, but just noticing how it is. You know. If we're trying to control, maybe we feel a constriction. We just invite ease. However the body wants to breathe, can it just breathe? Breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. Just the mind aware of the body breathing. We do this as an invitation, right? This rhythmic breathing. You can notice if that feels comforting, the rhythm of the breath. Or we can notice if there's something about it that brings tension. It feels uncomfortable. We can notice that as well. So the comments the mind has about how breathing is, we can notice that. That's the effect. And if there's any discomfort, just with kindness, compassion, just inviting, can there be any relaxation in just this body breathing? So it's a kind invitation, it's not a directive. This is our time to come inwards and be with this mind and this body. However it is, even if we're experiencing tension, can we just be with it without judgment? Just knowing it's like this. And if we don't make up a story about it, we don't hold on to it, the sensation moves or shifts little by little. Just letting it move, what the mind just observing. With curiosity, how is it right now? The body breathing is like this. This observing mind is like this. The mind and the body aren't separate. It's all part of this experience of being human in this moment. It's like this right now, in this moment. In the next moment, now it's like this. What are we aware of? We still with the breath, or are we going off thinking? So we can notice what the mind's paying attention to and notice what the effect is on the mind and the body. What leads to ease and relaxation, what leads to tension, what leads to zoning out and not knowing what's going on. Being aware of what we're aware of. Getting to know ourselves better, the habits of the mind. Inviting calm and ease, letting go of whatever gets in the way of that ease. Whatever it is, it's like this right now. Can this be okay? So the bell rings to invite us to let go of that specific practice, but just take a moment to reflect on what you experienced in that short meditation. What was the mind paying attention to? Were there things that, when it paid attention, brought it some agitation? Were there things when it paid attention to it caused calm? Or falling asleep? Whatever happened. And letting that go and coming back to awareness of being together here. So, whatever you observed during that meditation, part of what you might have noticed was the narrative, your own mental narrative. There was some guidance in that, but you probably had your own mental narrative that was going on about what your experience was, but excuse me, in that meditation, what we were doing was inviting the mind to experience things that might lead to calm. So this awareness in the present moment, inviting the mind to take in the experience of the body, whatever it is, and being just present with it, whatever it is, as a way to not focus the attention, but just direct the attention to this direct experience of the mind and the body versus the usual thinking, planning, remembering, fantasizing, whatever the mind is usually up to, the dominance of the thinking mind that's creating things other than what's directly happening here. And so the usual habit of the mind is to feed in, to pay attention to certain things, and then it has an effect on the mind and the body. So similar to the type of food that we take into our body, if we consume a lot of sugar and caffeine, we may notice that we're really jittery, but if we eat a balanced diet and kind of have, not too much of stimulation, not too much drugs and alcohol, the food that we're consuming, what we're taking into our body has an effect on how the body feels. And some of us intentionally really pay close attention to what we eat so that we feel better. We notice that there's a direct correlation between what we take in and how the body feels and how the mind is, how crazy the mind is or how calm the mind is. So this idea of food, it's not just about what you're eating, the meats and vegetables and liquids that we take in, but what are we consuming in other ways? The food that we take into our mind, what kinds of thoughts, what kinds of experiences, how much time do we spend on the internet and where do we go when we're on the internet? What are we taking in from other people, the people that we hang out with? Maybe some of us notice that it's easy to be with some people and more agitating to be with some others, and or certain experiences that some are calming, some are agitating, some make us want to disappear. So just noticing the effect of what we're taking in, and not just in food, but physical food, but also the mental food that we have has an effect on this mind and this body. And so in our meditation practice, we can observe what happens in daily life in terms of what we take in, but also in meditation, we can do it in even a more controlled way, where the mind isn't as distracted by all the activities of daily life, but we can start to see what the mind pays attention to. And maybe equally important is what's the narrative, what's the food that the mind is giving itself on a regular basis. What are we paying attention to? What's the storyline? Where do we allow the thoughts to go? Do they keep spinning out in a narrative that's not helpful, or going off into fantasy and not in being in touch with reality? So we can notice in meditation the types of things that come up. Maybe in our meditation, we notice that the mind's always wanting something, wanting to be someplace else, or wanting a food or an object or something, daydreaming about wanting something or another person or whatever. And we can notice that, and trying to balance that out by, when we notice that we're in desire, can we notice that and not judge it, but just notice the effect on the mind and the body? And then invite, is there a possibility of being contented? Like, is there anything that's okay right now that I don't have to have, So we can do this kind of thing in our practice and meditation, noticing the kinds of things that come up like desire, noticing the effect on the mind, the body, like, oh, not helpful, gets me all jittery. And then saying, is there anything that might be helpful? Oh, remembering that it's really okay here now. I don't really need anything else. Or maybe you do notice you do need it, and then just make a note of that and move on. The same with kind of the opposite of the non-desire, the not wanting. We can notice if the mind is constantly in, I don't like this, or judging other people. You're going into memories of, why are they like this, or why am I like this? So this judgment, this not liking, if that's a habit of the mind, again, noticing what the effect is on the mind and the body when the mind tends to go to those places in meditation, seeing how it affects our mood, how it affects how the body feels, and inviting things like, a question of, is that really true? Is it really that bad? And so just, again, kind of the questioning, not necessarily buying into that story of things not being okay. So worry and anxiety can often come up, so again, this is a proliferation a lot of times of not liking, we want things to be otherwise. So we're worrying, trying to figure out a way. So overthinking, it's like an overindulgence in thinking, it's like too much sugar, right? The same kind of effect of we're overdoing it in the thinking process, just spinning in a story over and over again. And we can see the kind of binge thinking, what the effect is on the mind and the body. And again, coming into the body awareness and noticing if there's any place where there's any amount of calm, we can let go. That allows us to let go of the story of all the thinking that's happening, and coming into the body then cuts that storyline. But also, if we know what leads to calm in this body, we can invite that too. Or the opposite, if we have drowsiness, that's like a lack of nourishment, right? Not having enough food for the mind. So the mind's bored and it wants to just go to sleep. And so can we invite some curiosity? Can we bring some energy, paying closer attention, maybe counting breaths, giving the mind something to do, something to nourish it, to give it something to feed on. If it's feeling like it wants something more, we can give it something wholesome, like paying attention to the breath. So this idea of thinking of it, it's a kind of a creative way to visualize, what the mind is paying attention to, what we're receiving, and what the effect is on the mind and the body. And figuring ways to better nourish the mind through kindness, compassion, intentionally inviting positive thoughts, letting go of things that aren't helpful, and inviting contentment. So this is a kind of this is your if I had a food pyramid, maybe that should be the next visual that I bring next time I talk about this, have a food pyramid for the mind, but, a strong base of kindness and compassion, and building up from there. hopefully the pinnacle is clarity and calm, right? But what do we bring in to better balance the food that we're taking in our mind? So some things to think about, and maybe let's practice with that. Of course, it's the direct experience that's most important. So keeping all that in mind, we'll just do a simple little guided meditation here, just an opportunity. We'll do just a standard meditation, but we can watch what comes up. What is the mind feeding on? What's its natural tendency to feed on things? And what food can we offer it? What food for thought can we offer that might invite a little more calm and clarity, or at least let go of some attention? So coming back into the meditation seat, we'll let the bell invite us again. So letting go of all that theory, the ideas, and coming inward. Grounding back into the body like we did in the first meditation. Really feeling that sense of the mind resting in this body. With eyes closed to decrease the visual stimulation, or just having a soft gaze. And just once again, checking in, how is it right here, right now? How is the mind? How is the body? In whatever way the mind experiences that, that's the invitation. So how is it right here, right now? What does the mind pay attention to with that invitation? And maybe the mind is bored with that invitation. It's off thinking, planning, or going to sleep. We can notice that too. What's the effect of wherever the mind is? What's the effect on the mind and body? So we can set the intention now during this meditation to pay attention to whatever meditation object worked for you, a place for your mind to rest. Maybe from that first meditation, it was the breath where it can rest, or maybe just awareness of the body, the feet, the hands. Setting the intention to be with that, to just keep paying attention to that moment-to-moment experience with the meditation object. So setting that intention to pay attention, and then the intention to notice what the effect is, what the mind pays attention to, and what's the effect. So intending to be with that object. With curiosity, moment-to-moment awareness. If the mind wanders, notice where it goes, then reset the intention to come back to a meditation object. Checking in with the mind to see what it's paying attention to. Is it still with the meditation object? And if so, what's the effect on the mind and the body? Or if the mind's doing something else, thinking, planning, remembering, sleeping, what's the effect of that on the mind and the body? We don't judge it, we just notice. And then reset the intention to come back to the meditation object and with kindness, curiosity, moment to moment. How is it with this meditation object or whatever the mind is paying attention to? Checking in with the mind to see what it's feeding on. Is it still grounded, nourishing in the moment to moment awareness? Or if so, what's the effect? Or is it wanting something else, leaning into wanting something different? And if so, can we invite contentment? Maybe the mind's not wanting whatever we're experiencing. Can we notice that, the judgment that comes with that, and say, is it really that bad? How is it in the body? It's like this. So noticing the effect, and then resetting the intention to come back, be with the meditation object. Feeding on moment to moment awareness with kindness and compassion. Can we be interested in this experience right here? Can we be content with this experience right here? This subtle food of moment to moment experience. It's the invitation. Checking in again with the mind. What are we paying attention to? We still with meditation object, and what's the effect? Or is the mind doing something else? Maybe it's lost in worry, anxiety, thought, doubting, feeding on thoughts. We just notice how that feels in the mind and the body. Bringing the awareness into the body. Can we let go of all that thinking and just be with this experience right here, right now? If we redirect the attention away from worry and anxiety to awareness of this body, how is that? Or maybe we notice there's drowsiness. Maybe we're falling asleep or we're foggy. Maybe the mind needs some nourishment, so we can invite curiosity. We could count breaths. Open the eyes if we need to get some stimulation for drowsy. Staying alert to what's happening right here, right now. So just noticing what's happening, how that feels in the mind and body. And then resetting the intention to be with this meditation experience moment to moment. Noticing what the mind's paying attention to, what it's feeding on, and noticing the effect on the mind and the body. Getting to know the habits of the mind and then inviting whatever might help to nourish the mind with kindness, compassion, curiosity. Maybe a positive thought if there's some negativity, or just inviting contentment. Or can we nourish it by just keeping it interested, this curiosity in this present moment experience? It's like this. The mind get interested, be nourished by this present moment experience. How is it right now? Noticing what the mind's paying attention to, the effect on the mind and the effect on the body. We train in meditation to get the mind interested in this, so we know what our habits are, what leads to ease, what leads to tension in meditation, but also we can notice what leads to ease and tension in our everyday life. Mind can stay interested in this. It will naturally incline towards ease. We do this with patience and kindness. Do this for our benefit, or for the benefit of everyone around us. This is our practice. So the bell invites us to bring the attention back to the surface again. Taking a second to notice what you may have observed during that, the habits in the mind, what the effect is, what felt helpful, what didn't feel helpful. Yeah, so it's just some suggestions of things, maybe this metaphor works for you, this idea of food, what am I consuming? And again, not just in meditation, but, what we do in our daily lives comes into our meditation, doesn't it? I mean, a lot of people that come to do these meditation practices, they say, well, I come here to calm, but if you come having been overstimulated or taking in too much negative news or too much social media or whatever, too much caffeine, too much sugar, it has an effect. So we can notice what we do in our daily lives, how it affects the mind when we come into meditation. So these aren't separate activities. So hopefully something was helpful to you today. Just offering these suggestions and hoping that you get some benefit, and just grateful that you're present practicing with us today. So thank you for that.